being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. What a shame. A shame that we didn't meet sooner. If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal... Oh, yes. Here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details, and if you have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention.
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this.
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from the one...
An Adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway. He mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and that they had me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn contracts to protect Liyue Harbor and all that?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for.
Is that so? But, Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liu.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go. Hold on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book. What kind of things do you write in there?
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Krustle. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some legal queries on certain articles in the legal codices. If my memory serves, he mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hands on some Smaragdus jadeite, or might... Oh, you want to join me? I suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you try to get...
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring legal liability. Well, that's a first for sure. Best we be a little more careful than usual while we're with her.
Hello, Mr. Krustle. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some...
Well, yes, as a matter of fact, in the end I did acquire a small piece of Smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hair... Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must...
Wait, isn't Smaragdus jadeite really rare?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Zhiqiao before renting. The contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, in return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus jadeite is genuine.
Guaranteed genuine? With 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be...
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need.
In that case, might you know where Miss Zhiqiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our...
Thanks a lot, Mr. Krustle. We'll be off now.
Oh, whatever shall I do? Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Miss Zhiqiao? We understand from Mr. Krustle that you recently rented a pair of hairpins. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins? I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value... My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around. So we've been having to purchase some stock. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. But now that I've lost the hairpins, what will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Chow.
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here. Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she? Maybe she can help Juchao's... True. Though surely there must be a way...
Right. I finished reading the contract. The terms are very clear, and they do indeed stipulate that you must pay... Furthermore, the contract also expressly states that the amount of compensation must take... And given the rarity of Smaragdus Jadeite, I fear that the final amount of...
Even higher? Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Juchao looks like she's about to faint.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus Jadeite.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check...
See?
Please. Please, however much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. Now that it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossel in the dark any longer.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But so hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first...
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstone set into the pit. My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so...
Smooth to the touch. No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Juchao in tow, too, I see.
About that.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have...
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my... I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei...
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Yes. And if I may just... It was in fact genuine Smaragdus Jadeite inlaid into the hairpins.
Of course. Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times...
All right. Understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow.
Thank you very much. How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last...
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus.
What do you mean? Are you implying that you already
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus Jadeite is found deep underground and contains if mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience... Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt perfectly fine the whole time. Not even the slightest bit
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were... If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus Jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his...
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, and then he'd throw the Smaragdus Jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone. After that, he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. Meanwhile, we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately...
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this...
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, can I ask you to...
Huh? Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon feels like Yanfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract cannot be relied upon.
I understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use the...
This contract has so many pages.
All right, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy. Not for now, no. Despite how intractable this problem might sound, it will actually be quite straightforward. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be
Miss Yunfei, I have to ask.
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus Jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces of Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where can we find... I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional. If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh! Surely not more...
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell enlisted your ore processing service?
A Snezhnayan merchant named Crossell, you say? I do remember that. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus Jadeite. He was quite generous with his money, too, so I didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore.
Do you have any leftover debris?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so I kept a few loose...
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
Try your luck betting on Jade? Try your luck betting on Jade?
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross-sections and patterning suggest that, yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry. I've heard it said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite, though no one's ever proven.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore.
Is that so? Well, we might as well give elemental sight a shot. So, did you find anything? So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao was able to tell what it was?
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my... These two stones actually look very similar. Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to... There may be only a subtle difference for the casual viewer, but that translates to an astronomical difference in terms of the market price. And I'm sure a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossell...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's take some of these shavings back to Chateau.
Miss Yenfei? Might I be so bold?
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir. Mr. Crossell did indeed claim that the
Yes, that's right. I still have a record of the job with me, in fact. Here. It says...
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and the stone...
Of course.
Oh, I have my reasons. Ah, yes. Please sign... This document shall serve as signed proof that these stone shavings originated from the...
Yes, I see. Forgive me for asking.
I wouldn't say there's been an incident. Just a minor issue. Thank you, sir.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossell won't dare try.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find some... If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think. Jewelry. Aha! Got it! Sinxi. She often helps people to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How come you know so many people?
Because lots of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts. And contracts, well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and as such, legal advisors like myself provide...
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to...
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a... Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Sinxi.
Some new items
Join the Adventurers Guild. You'll have a blast.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened?
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. Has a merchant by the name of Crossell asked you to put him in contact with a jewel...
Crossell. Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who... This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is...
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Sinxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossell commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith...
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so Mr. Crossell wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus jadeite.
Thank you, Sinxi. Now, could you let me borrow...
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway.
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as...
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus jadeite is harmful to the human... Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little cheat, and if it isn't Miss Yenfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus jadeite.
Smaragdus jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th copy. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains, and it is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yanfei, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if you're...
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baizhu. Thank you for penning us that document.
You're too kind.
Dr. Baizhu's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original...
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her?
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence, now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which...
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, miss, I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow...
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus jadeite and Smaragdus nephrite. In any case, Smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite.
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And...
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all.
hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed...
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve...
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause... Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here, I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear, Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties before...
Huh? No, The hair...
aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Mr. Chow... Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
He's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hair... But I'm a victim in all of this, too. I invested a great deal of time and money into it, but after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone can... That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite, which is almost... I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell...
Exactly! If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew if word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then...
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client.
10 times.
Crosel looks like he could faint any second.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much more. Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them.
Ms. Chow, you...
However, Mr. Crosel, since you have no use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite...
What? But all right, then. This cursed rock...
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that...
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yunfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to visit and express...
Oh, come on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this...
Well, yes, I believe we have.
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crosel, it seems that my client has no further claims against you.
Is that so? That's good. That's good.
Actually, Mr. Crosel, I'd like to talk business for a second, if I may. I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores...
Let me think for a moment.
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus jadeite that Granny wants too. All's well that ends well, eh?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place for it. But this time, even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpin...
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, an adeptus. Speaking of, you took part in that battle, didn't you? Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of Adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far more than it needs?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely disagree with your reasoning.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on tenterhooks for a while.
Ah, you've returned. How did it go? Were you able to find the Smaragdus jadeite? Good, good. Then we have all the...
Well, if we're all set, Granny, I'll get going now. Got a ton of clients waiting for me back at the office.
Oh, you. All right, then. Go see to your...
I'm off then. Bye! Oh, yes, Traveler. Make sure you don't lose... I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever bump into any trouble with the law, come find me
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish...
I'm leaving! I'm leaving!
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Indeed, Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also... Liyue is not the same place. All right, then. Let us speak of this no more.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
It is but a single teapot. There we go. This Serenity pot is... Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh goodness, who knows what might happen? Take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you wish to make your teapot a little more light.
Wait a minute, Granny. How exactly are we supposed to use this teapot?
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a certain little helper to await you.